Lindsay. How are you?
Great, Michelle. How's it going? How's everything?
Everything is good over here. Lindsay, what do you do when you are settling in for the night at home and you want to feel comfortable? Is there any like ritual you have?
Definitely.
Do you get into some sort of special clothes or what is
Of course, absolutely. When I come home, it's the best part of the day.
Yes.
If I've been out or something, and in the winter, I'll put on pajama pants, nice fleece pajama pants,
Yeah.
a pair of slippers, have some dinner, watch some TV. And in the winter, probably just like shorts or very comfortable. I think the key is comfortable clothes for me are part of settling in. What about you, Michelle? What's your routine?
Yes. For me, it's about the fuzzy socks.
Yeah.
A shower.
Okay.
There's some nights when I get home, it was funny. The other night my whole family was upstairs at like 6:30, not sleeping, but then I did a Peloton and but we were all kind of like, it's like the ritual of like, okay, now we're going upstairs. It feels like the night is separated, but for me to truly feel like, okay, it's the fuzzy socks, my pajamas, a shower, because I'm a night shower, and just getting all my night tasks out of the way, like the brushing of the teeth.
I see.
Lindsay, do you ever feel like you put off going to sleep because you don't feel like getting up to brush your teeth? And you have to convince yourself to do it?
Sometimes. I don't let it go too far like that because I love my sleep as much as I can get. I try to get.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'll have the thought, like if I'm watching TV and a commercial comes on, like, oh, I should really go brush my teeth and get ready for bed. I'll wait for the next one. That kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the hardest task for me to convince myself to get up and do. And it's like, if I just do it, then I can just move on with my life. I know. So anyway, but today we are going to answer a great question from Sophia, who we love. We love you, Sophia, and your questions are always amazing.
Yes.
Sophia is asking this question on YouTube.
Yeah, keep the questions coming, Sophia. I'll go ahead and read this
please.
question. And again, if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget, guys, we do have a channel. It's awesome. If you prefer to learn visually by seeing us on the screen, it's a great way to learn. Go ahead over to YouTube, type in All Ears English, hit subscribe. So here's Sophia's question. Hi, I'm Sophia. I really love this Make a Beeline episode. Your example sentences are so vivid. They really paint a picture. I also really love your energy. Every time I listen, I feel so happy and always learn something new. Well, that's good, Michelle, to hear. That's so great.
Thanks, Sophie.
That's
and I'm glad you like that episode.
Yeah. I often hear settle in and settle down in songs, and I have a question. What's the difference between them? Thanks so much. Oh, what a good, another just, 110 out of 100 question.
Yes.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Hit it out of the park again, Sophia.
Yeah.
So this is going to be great. There's a lot to talk about here.
Yes.
Guys, you are going to want to get the All Ears English app. Here we're going to be talking about vocabulary. And, one of the things that we have over there is, you can follow along with the transcript. And you can also get your personalized power list of vocabulary words. So you don't have to be sitting there taking notes on everything. You can just click it and have it saved, and it's just a really great learning tool.
Exactly. We choose usually 5 to 7 words per episode of All Ears English, and we decide that those are the words that are going to help you to become more fluent in English, especially at the B2 C1 level. And so go on over and get it, because those words will be probably tappable inside the transcripts, and when you tap them, you'll be able to save them to your personal power list, like Michelle said. All right, good. So go to allearsenglish.com/app. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
All right. So another great question. So let's go for it. So let's start with settle in.
Yeah.
I used this in the beginning about asking you, what do you do to settle in at home? So what does that mean?
So it means to get comfortable, to get relaxed, or potentially to get comfortable with something, getting used to something, adjusting to it. Usually when something is new or when something is getting started, it's like an adjustment period, right?
Yeah. So it could just be this basic, like, let's settle in at home. Like, let's, get in our pajamas and have some hot cocoa.
Yeah.
But it also could be, that does sound great. Just like more something about this adjustment period. So let's do some examples. It's so it took me a while to settle in when I moved into my house, but I'm finally pretty comfortable. So here, it's that adjustment period. It's about, unpacking all your boxes, deciding what room things go in.
I mean, one thing for me about settling in is, it's really nice if I can unpack. So this week I'm staying at my in-laws' place because we're doing a renovation on our home. And I was able to kind of unpack a little bit, take stuff out of a suitcase. And that's a big part for me of settling in is feeling like you're not living out of a suitcase a little bit. What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely. The living out of a suitcase is really hard. So I just came back from a vacation and the laundry situation was really something special. We did all the washes. It was just then we didn't have time to fold the laundry and put it away. And then meanwhile, we're still wearing clothes. So like we're all getting clothes from the laundry pile, which is downstairs. And like they're just, it's like, oh my gosh, snowballing out of control. But I just did it. But now there's just more laundry. So, so it was hard to settle in back from vacation because there was so much laundry and unpacking to do.
100%. So I think a lot of our listeners right now are probably envisioning what they like to do to settle in when they get home from a long day at work, right? Especially if you live in a big city and you've been on the train, maybe you shower because you're feeling dirty, or maybe you put on comfortable pants, or you eat something, or turn on the TV. Everyone has their own little ritual. But then also you could say something like this: let's settle in. This lecture is going to take a long time. So this kind of means like calm down in a way, or it means, well, actually, I don't know, calm down.
It's like get relaxed. I mean, it is. It's like get comfortable. Like this is we're not moving, right?
Yeah, like you're going to be in a place for a while. This is like a 3-hour college lecture, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or it took me a full semester to settle in at my college. I had a hard time in the beginning, and that's true for me. I've talked about on the show. It took me a semester really to settle in and get comfortable. So that adjustment period.
Part of settling into a new life, like you're talking about with college, is making friends, right? Figuring out like where things are physically located. It's a lot bigger than just putting on pajama pants, right? But here's a question, Michelle. This is really niche and probably very picky on my part, but our listeners love subtle nuances. Do you think that the term settle in is used more in like certain regions of the country?
Oh. Wow.
Like in the specifically in the context of checking into a hotel. I'm just curious if you think like if you ever stay in a hotel like in the West or maybe on the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast, do you feel like you hear that more or less? It's probably
I am not the right person to answer that question, but you are. Well, I've spent only a little time on the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New England, and my partner and I have noticed some trends around this term settle in. It seems to be used more. It seems to be used more on like in like New England inns when you check into like a, an old fashioned inn, like, we'll give you some time to settle in and then you can come down and have, we're serving tea and cookies in the parlor or something. Whereas I haven't heard that quite as much in the West, which is interesting. But it's just a small theory that's not necessarily true. It's just something we joke about.
That's really funny that now we're doing an episode on this.
Yeah, like because it kind of has very slight notions of like quaintness. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a bit of a
I see what
word.
you're saying.
Yeah,
for sure.
And New England and like the oldest part of the country, right? The South obviously is old as well, but the eastern seaboard is like the oldest part of the country. Kind of has a quaint nature to it. A little bit.
Yeah. I can definitely, I can appreciate that. So
that's a stretch. That's my own fun. See, it's fun to have these little observations and then you make jokes about it with your family, right? It's kind of fun.
Of course. It's the best. But you could also use settle into, right? Yes. So, when I was researching this, it's pretty much the same. It suggested maybe it's a little bit more specific, but I would say settle into is very similar. I'm settling into my new neighborhood.
Yep, exactly. And that's interesting. So that to me is more about a life transition, right? Because you wouldn't say I'm settling into my home at the end of a busy day at work.
No,
right?
No.
That's literally when you've changed your circumstances.
Yeah.
So that's a
good
real,
point.
I mean, for our high level listeners at the C1, B2 level, this is something to pay attention to. Right?
You are all about the good observations today.
Yeah,
Lindsay.
we're going really subtle today, but I think our listeners love it. So then what's the difference as our listener Sophia asked, settle down? How's it different? Very different, right?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting one. So it could either mean calm down or get to a stable point in some area of your life.
Yeah.
So it's less about the adjustment in a shorter period of time. Like it's like a big change for a long time. So for example, he's not ready to settle down. I mean, he is only 25. So what does that mean? What are we saying?
Essentially what you're saying is kind of, it's code for getting married, having kids, at least in our culture. That's code for, settle
getting
down.
a house, all the,
mortgage,
exactly.
kids, house, car, loans, things like that. But anything that kind of ties you down a little bit, right? Roots you. Yeah.
Roots you. Yes, exactly. Or what's something you might hear? This is more about calming down.
Yeah. Please settle down. We don't want to have a fight here. Right. So people might say this to kids who are kind of rowdy or something. Probably doesn't work. Probably makes them worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, this just means bring the energy down.
Right, exactly. Or I was pretty angry at first, but I settled down after I ate something. So I calmed down. I got more stable, right? Maybe I was hangry.
Sure. Yeah. And this doesn't necessarily mean you were like rowdy and making noise. It just means you were upset. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Do you tend to get hangry? Like, do you get irritable when you're hungry? Which is hangry.
I think I do. I think I do. Do you?
Yeah, of course.
I think,
most people do. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. All right, Michelle, we're back from break. There are a few other, as a bonus for our listeners, words that do include settle. Now, if you can get the difference between settle in, settle into, and settle down, you're already good, guys. But these are bonuses, right? If you want a little something more today. Okay.
A little extra. Yep. So the first one is to settle for.
Yeah.
Right. So
interesting.
This is to say that something is okay or acceptable, even if it's not what you really wanted. And sometimes people also just might say settle in this situation.
Yes. And this is often used in like the romantic context, right?
Yeah,
You settle. If you say, oh, she's settled, you're literally saying, you're only referring to partner choice, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. She said. Yeah. I mean, it could also be like career or
Yeah.
But I would say it's often about like a partner choice. Like, oh, she doesn't really like the guy, but she felt her biological clock was ticking. And
right.
Unfortunately,
Here's some examples. On the show House Hunters, the contestants often settle for a house they may not think is perfect, but it is the best option out of the three. Yeah.
Right.
And the reality is when you house hunt nowadays in 2026, 25, 27, most of the time we are kind of settling or we're compromising because it's such a tough market that we can't get everything we want in a house. Right.
Yeah. It's very hard to find the perfect house in the perfect place. You often have to prioritize what's the most important and maybe settle for other, things in other aspects. Yeah. Or here's another one. I really want to go to Tokyo, but I'd settle for a beach vacation just to get away.
Very different experiences, but yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Like, I would say this is true for me. Like, I would love to go to Tokyo, but right now it's a little too expensive, a little too far. But even if I just get away a little bit,
sure,
that's good.
Well, we can get the same benefits, right? Being on vacation is being on vacation. You come back clear-headed, feeling re-energized. So this is a good chunk for our listeners to take away today. I'd settle for X, right?
Something, right?
I really
or
want,
like, I really want a big chocolate chip cookie, but I'd settle for a Hershey Kiss.
Right.
It's my next choice. Like if that's all we have.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then sometimes you might hear someone say never settle, right?
Yeah.
As life advice. It's kind of just in a vacuum.
Like at a graduation speech or your principal, never settle.
Right. Exactly. And then real quick, actually, should we do this one, Michelle?
All right. Maybe we'll
skip that one. And then what do you think? Go to the role play?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to the role play. We can always do another one another time.
Yeah.
So here I am visiting you at your new house.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right. Wow, this place is beautiful. Are you all settled in?
Thanks. I think so. I'm still trying to pick paint colors. I can't find exactly what I want, though. So I think I'll settle for off-white.
Oh, well, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm settling down after so many years of moving.
Yeah, it must be a good feeling.
It's weird.
Did you figure out which couch you are going to get?
Yeah, it took me forever, but I finally settled on this really nice sleeper sofa. It's navy and really comfortable.
Great.
Nice. All right, let's go through these. And there was one bonus that we hadn't taught you yet, but we'll teach it in context. So, So you asked me, this place is beautiful. Are you all settled in? Meaning what, Michelle? Are you
comfortable? Are you adjusted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes.
And then you said, I'm trying to pick paint colors. I can't find exactly what I want, though. So I think I'll settle for off-white. So you're saying, okay, I'm just going to make a choice. It might not be my favorite, but this is fine.
Exactly. And then I said, it's a commentary about my life stage. I can't believe I'm settling down after so many years of moving. So here, this settling down could mean getting married, but not necessarily in this context, right? It could just mean I've decided to buy a house for the first time.
Right. Maybe you've lived all over the world and now you're picking your spot and now you're going to get ready to build some roots.
Exactly. Building roots is the key, whatever that means for you. And then here's our bonus that we hadn't taught, but we get a bonus today. So you said, did you figure out which couch you're going to get? And I said, yes, it took me forever, but I finally settled on this nice sleeper. What am I saying there, Michelle?
Right. Well, you had a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
And you made a decision. Maybe it was some sort of compromise, or maybe you just made some decision.
Exactly. You decided on it. That's what it is. That's that simple. Let's make a decision.
Yeah.
All right. Really good episode today. Great question. The best episodes come from the best questions. So guys, send them to support@allearsenglish.com. And Michelle, what should our listeners check out next?
Guys, check out episode 2564 was human or person. What's the difference? We are really loving these questions where people say, listeners write in, what's the difference between this and this? Because I think, this or that, right? This or that. Yeah. Because they're very useful. So these are the types of really specific questions that we love. So if you have a what's the difference question, definitely let us know.
Yeah. And when it comes to connection and today's episode, I think it's a fun topic to ask someone, what do you do to settle in the evening? Because you learn a lot about people's values, about what makes them comfortable. And it's just like a warm and fuzzy topic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So open up the topic, guys. And good stuff. Try to stretch yourself with this new vocabulary. Okay.
All right, Lindsay. Well, again, thank you so much to Sophia for this question. And Lindsay, I'll see you next time.
Sounds good, Michelle. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.